Hi, this is Jim Ziegler, the Alpha Dawg, and we've got one exciting show for you today. We've got BDCs, no BDC, off-site BDC, service BDC, salesmen handle the calls, salesmen don't handle the calls, salespersons don't handle the calls.
Good job.
Good job.
Yeah, socially conscious. What are we going to do here? Well, I got three experts on with me today. The Empress of Executive Management.
I'm gonna get a crown.
Talking about the royalty herself, Jennifer Briggs, one of the most brilliant women in the car business. Hello, Jennifer.
Hey, Jim, I'm so excited. I get to flex my big, beautiful brain with you 2 times in one day.
Wait, what? You got to hang out with Jim earlier
We
today?
taught at Northwood together this morning.
We did a co-professor class with Northwood University today. Jennifer and I, as I'm sure everybody noticed, Max isn't with us. April's not with us. April is ill. Best of luck. Get well, April.
Yeah.
So to replace April, who was not able to teach the class, I had Jennifer scheduled a couple weeks from now.
Yeah.
Jennifer jumped in and replaced April today. I'll have April back later.
Well, I don't know about the word replaced, but I filled in for her.
You
I
filled
love that.
in for her. You didn't replace. Nobody can replace April.
We
But
love it.
anyway, one of the most brilliant phone trainers in the entire Northeast. The most brilliant phone trainer
There you
in
go.
the entire Northeast. A man who's legendary, a conference promoter. My friend Anthony Alagona. Hey, big
Hello,
guy.
my friends. Pleasure to be here with you. Pleasure to be here with you. Thank you for having me.
And what is your business? What do you do?
So I consult car dealerships and train in-house on-site BDCs, and I also provide an off-site service just in case their BDC can't handle what they're doing on-site. So,
Okay, so wait a minute. You're doing some on-site and off-site BDC work.
yes, I am.
So you basically are Bobbie's competitor.
No, I don't think we're competitors. I just think we're people teaching the same thing with 2 different paradigms.
Yeah.
Okay. That's not what Bobbie said offline.
That is not true. That is not true. I always think it's funny when people say that. Anthony and I just had this conversation the other day. There's so much business in our industry, and so many people learn different dynamics in different ways from different people that we prefer to work together on things when we get a chance, and we're friends offsite as well as we are on.
100%.
Okay. And one of the most brilliant women in the car business. I've got 2 of them on. This woman is the queen of BDC. I'm talking about Bobbie Herron. Hi, kid.
Hi, you. How are you today?
I'm great. I'm great. Best day of my life.
Because you can take out with us. I know. I love that.
Okay. Let's do the argument. BDC or no BDC?
Who's going first? You guys go first.
I got Bobbie in the star slot.
Bobbie's in the big screen.
Listen, it's the word that drives me crazy with BDC. The truth is, every business needs a business development team or center that focuses on that. It's not an easy job. You face rejection. It's consistent. You're often locked in a dark closet somewhere in the back of a dealership, grabbing people's lunch because they think that's your real job. And you
Wait a minute. BDC, all you do is pay them $10 and slide pizza under the door.
Listen, every time, guys, listen, when you hear him say that, I love him, so he must not really mean that. But you have to have people who are efficiently trained on communication and that their skill set is different than your sales team. That does not mean that your sales team can't have the same skill set. It doesn't mean you can't hybrid, you can't offsite, you can't onsite. It really pulls into what the store is, what the technology is, and what their culture is where it really comes down to. I can put a perfectly trained ninja assassin into a store that won't lift them, empower them, support them, and make them part of their team, and they'll fail. I can put somebody who could set dog grooming appointments, and that's it. That's all he's ever done, into a dealership where if they're supported with the right technology, they absolutely blow it out of the water. It's top down, and it comes from buy-in and commitment on the leaders of the team in order for it to work.
Anthony, BDC or no BDC?
I believe similar to Bobbie. Listen, I think BDC is a mindset and shouldn't be a department, right? Everybody's job is to develop business, but like she said, it's a tough department. It's not a lot of glory. It's a lot of rejection. It's a lot of monotony, and you really have to love it to excel at it. And I tell dealers I don't really recommend them outsourcing their BDC unless they really, really have to, because nobody should handle their leads better than them, right? They're their leads. So
okay, so outsource is one of your businesses, but you don't recommend it.
no. It's last resort, honestly. And
Yes.
I opened up this offsite honestly because I was getting frustrated going back to the same dealerships, training the same things, and not understanding why I was doing that. So when I pivoted during COVID, one of the reasons I pivoted is so I can understand the pain points, and I have a better understanding now. And I always tell dealers, I say, listen, my first recommendation is let me train your staff. And if it, like Bobbie said, if it starts from the top down, there can be success. It takes a little while to get there. But if some people don't have that team or those leaders to do that, so sometimes they may need an offsite solution or a hybrid solution. So I agree 100% with Bobbie.
Thank you.
What do you think, Jennifer?
Well, I think that before you make a decision on to BDC or not to BDC, you need to evaluate your management team in both sales and service, because you got to start there. Because regardless, whether
why sales department? What are you talking about?
Well, because even if they're on-site or off-site, somebody has to hold them accountable. Someone has to inspect what's going on. Or if you do, like Anthony was saying, if you decide it's not something you can manage in-house, who's going to feed the off-site BDC? And off-site doesn't always have to be third party. I have recently built an in-house virtual BDC, direct dealership W-2s, but they work from home. They work on the dealership's phone system. We use Slack, which is awesome because they can trade voice notes back and forth. They can send, they can send the pencil right through. I mean, if you're desking in the CRM, it's easy. But if you don't evaluate your management team, sales and service, you're going to make the wrong decision no matter which way you go, because that's the team you have to really hold accountable, not the agents or the sales reps or your third-party vendor. It is your management team that should be held accountable for that department, wherever it sits.
Yeah, I always think it's funny. So everybody's going to attack me on this one, and look, I don't really care. But I'll tell you, I mean, the offsite people watching, in most dealerships, the dealership sales manager is in charge of the BDC. But in very few dealerships is the dealership sales manager equipped, educated, or empowered to actually do that and to do it efficiently. You go to a 20 group, somebody says, oh, this is the pay plan we use, this is what we do. I wish you would just chuck that crap when you leave, because you're not the same store and you don't actually know what's going on. Would I love it for a dealership sales manager to be empowered and have the education needed to be able to actually train a BDC and hold them accountable? I absolutely would. But it is its own department. And if you're doing a truly different BDC in the dealership than you are the sales team, they need to be on the same page, same team, same page all the time, same leadership level, working deals and doing what everybody is doing.
But Bobbie, Anthony, salespeople are more efficient at picking up the phones, taking the e-leads, taking the leads. The salesmen are more efficient. They're better at it. They know the inventory. Why in the hell do we need a bunch?
I love it that you're doing comedy these days. I feel like that is the best job ever for you. No, here's the thing. I'm not going to talk down on salespeople, because salespeople aren't what they used to be, and they're not now what they should be. And these are all different roles, but this is a different role typically. Salespeople knowing the inventory. I hear this all the time. People are like, oh, they know the inventory. Do they really?
If the managers make them, they do.
Yeah, but why would the BDC not know the inventory too? Knowing your inventory and what you have on the lot is not the job. The job is communication, engagement, and consistency. That's the job.
Okay, but Jennifer, jump in on that.
Look,
salespeople could handle the leads better than a bunch of people in a Stuker phone room upgraded. What is
okay,
it?
let's not
Adam,
talk about
pull the
a
angry
Stuker
button,
phone room, okay? Because that's older than me in the business, right? Let's not even talk about a Stuker phone room. And no offense to Tom Stuker, no offense. But here's the thing, and I love it for stores where salespeople can work the internet leads
Mhm.
and can work their databases because they have a management team that's holding them accountable. If that is the way that you choose to run your store, you have to understand a salesperson, because I've seen it every which way. Salespeople who work internet leads are not allowed floor ups. They only get internet. They don't get phone up because, right, we're talking about phone inbound, chat and text inbound, internet lead inbound, and outbound database calling is what we're talking about for a true rounded business development center.
Mhm.
So if you choose to go, like Jim Shorkey just said, cradle to grave with your sales team, you have to have realistic expectations. They are not going to be able to hang and bang and make as many phone calls or contacts as a dedicated appointment center or call center rep.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree with Jim Shorkey myself because I was being humorous a minute ago. Salespeople are not qualified to do that job.
Unless they are
I
trained
have been
properly
no,
and set up
no,
properly.
no,
I disagree.
No. I'm going to say, let me get the floor
Listen.
a second here. I'm going to tell you right now, salespeople are not qualified. Some salespeople are qualified. But then the other hand, you got Five-Car Fred. Why is Five-Car Fred handling leads all by himself, herself? Five-Car Fred.
They shouldn't be. But in my stores, Jim, the salespeople start in the BDC. They start there and they get trained. And once they are qualified to work the database, to work the opportunities, then they can go to the floor. Mm-hmm. And I love a hybrid attack where you have some appointment setters and some salespeople, and they work together in tandem or independently. Mm-hmm. But you're right, just Joe Blow off the floor is not. And regardless of your structure, I'm going to tell you right now, one way to make your store more effective, get into the back end of your CRM and add a 24-hour manager touch point. Make a phone call task for some manager or round robin it to all your managers so they have to open up those opportunities and look and see what happened in the first 24 hours, and then just call the customer and say, hey, did my team take great care of you? Then it doesn't matter. I mean, it does matter if you don't have the right training, but you got to start somewhere, right? Then you're touching every single opportunity and know what you're working with and what you need to coach on. It's not a one size fits all solution.
You also get a reference point for what they're actually dealing with and how much they're actually touching, because it kills me. I'll hear people say, oh yeah, you know, they're not buried. You go sit in a closet, make 125 calls in a day and text and email templates and do it on a CRM that is not set up right, that is halfway broken, with salespeople who don't log their visits on the floor, with deals that aren't closed, with none of the notes, and go, what do you mean they can't set 18% of the opportunities? You're like, what are you doing? But any of the systems work if they're set up properly, if the training is there. The biggest problem I have.
If.
That's if is the key.
I was an astronaut, I'd be on the moon.
Inspect what you expect, right? Here's what I'll tell you. If you're a dealer or if you're a sales manager, I want to get real with yourself. If I handed you an opportunity right now in the CRM and I said, this is a customer that came in from Auto Trader. They came in, they haven't responded to us in 2 days. They've given us no engagement, but today they filled out a trade pending on the website. Can you tell me what the next step is with that customer when it comes in as that duplicate? Can you tell me what word track you're supposed to use? And I don't mean what you copied. I mean, what's the conversation starter? Where do you take it? Where do you end? And what's the goal?
So salespeople are not qualified to take the lead.
If you can't do that, then how do you expect anybody on your team, including your BDC, to be able to do it? Mm-hmm. You have to be able to do that in any of the settings, any of the setups, 100%. Any of them.
I've seen so many salespeople bungle leads. I am absolutely. Anthony, jump in here and defend me.
Well, listen, I'm a big. I believe in Alan Ram's way too. God bless him, right? I mean, he believes salespeople could do it, and that was. But like, you have to have the right salespeople with the right training. And you know, I just came off site yesterday. I was on site with a client. Ready for this? They have one BDC manager. They have 3 BDC reps. They get 10,000 leads a month.
Okay.
Could you imagine how much the process is broken? So to talk about, is a salesperson qualified or should they be calling? I believe they should be intertwined with each other. The BDC and just like my buddy Joe Callis says, the BDC and the salespeople are running a relay race, and we grab the baton first, right? And we got to set up the salespeople. Maybe the salespeople aren't calling the freshest leads, but they need to be calling leads And maybe it's where the BDC starts to fall off with their follow-up process, because every dealership I train, none of them get back 30 days. They all try to. They never get back 30 days. So we got to go into CRM, identify where the follow-up process stops, and then maybe put the salespeople in there to start get them working to pick up that process to push opportunities back. And that's what I do as far as my offsite BDC. And that's what I kind of give clients an option with. I say, listen, I'd rather come in and train your people, train your sales professionals as well to talk on the phone like professionals, right? Because there's a difference between a salesperson and a sales professional, right? It's everything. It's what you practice. And, how often do they practice their talking? How often do they practice presenting numbers? How often do they practice their walk around? This is all part of the job. And engaging people on the phone and text message and email is part of their job too. It's just that most dealerships make it a request instead of a requirement to use the CRM, right? Right? It's a request. And that's the biggest
We had that conversation at Northwood today, didn't we?
We did. And I would like to just follow up a little bit on something Anthony said. Even if you choose to have an offsite BDC or an in-house appointment setting department, you still need to train your salespeople on how to communicate with the clients. What are you going to do in the showroom? What are you going to do with your sold follow-up?
Oh, you got to train your managers. What are you talking, salespeople?
Well,
why are you
your
giving
managers have to train the salespeople?
Why are you giving any kind of training or bringing somebody in to train or sending somebody to trainer and you're not doing everybody? When I come in and train a team, and this is what I tell people, if I don't train your team and you're doing training, there is zero excuse when doing lead handling, conversion, communication, or sales training that you don't have every salesperson, every manager, every variable manager, and every BDC agent and manager in that team. People 100%. A/B split teams. You don't have to have no coverage, but you cannot train teams differently and then expect them to be in sync. That's not one team. That doesn't work. And it doesn't have to be expensive. Like I come in and train and I tell people, I have $1,000 fine in my contract if one of your people misses my class. I will shut the class down. You will pay for the day. You will not have a manager miss the class. People say that's crazy. No, it's not. It's not crazy because you will untrain the entire team that I just trained with your opinion if we're not on the same page.
100%. Amen.
100% won't do it.
Amen.
Jim Shorkey's the dealer, and he says if salespeople can't do this, how are they going to handle a live client?
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to say most of them have bungle live clients.
Shorty and I have done some business together in the past, and he's dead on. If they can't do it, they can't do it. This is why a hybrid can work if it's correct. Is that the ideal setup? No, but what gets forgotten is you have 3 different things you have to look at with this when you're doing a team. You've got 2 teams together. You've got tune-up talks. You've got turbocharged teamwork, and you've got feedback pit stops. This is the beginning, the middle, and the end of what you're doing, and it has to be consistent all the time. And you have to be open to hearing a voice.
So I think the structure and support for a sales team is important. A BDC team is important, right? That's why I started off by saying your management team is going to be where this succeeds or fails. Mm-hmm. And there was a comment that we just had seen earlier, cut the fat and stop taking money out of sales pockets. I will say that that's some BS, because if you do have a properly structured and supported appointment setting department, they're only putting money in. And side note, I consider a BDC as a marketing expense. Mm-hmm. They should, just like you're measuring your marketing cost per copy, if you're running it effectively and efficiently, you should be able down to
if.
Well, hey, Jim,
guys, he knows the answers to these things.
You're making money if you're running your store the right way. It's the same principle.
Mm-hmm. These people that charge their salespeople, I love this. And if you're one of them and you're like, she's such a jerk, I am. You probably shouldn't hire me, or maybe you should, because why are you spending $50,000, $100,000 in marketing on average to hand every opportunity you bring in to somebody who is untrained, who has no idea how to do it, and where you yourself might not do? And I'm not judging your inability to not know something. I'm judging your inability to be willing to be educated. You shouldn't be spending that money and handing it to a team that is untrained. And I don't care what department they work in. It's stupid, and it's not a smart business choice.
Jim Shorkey, don't get your blood pressure up, guy.
Jim's right. He's right, though. It's 100% his fault if they can't. But he's a dealer.
Jim Shorkey's going to have a conniption on the
it is. Salespeople can't do it. Sales professionals can, right?
Yep.
Oh, come on now.
Some of the stuff isn't even training. Here's some of the stuff that I'll just throw a couple things out here. Sometimes it's not even the training. Let's say you have a well-trained team, but you have a crap process and nobody's holding them accountable. Let's say you do things like
That's
this.
always the case.
I love this one. I turned a potential client down a couple of months ago because they couldn't get this part through their head. They turned access to their CRM off when the team is off-site. So Bobbie, why would I give them the access to CRM? They'll have our customer information. Like, my friend, you could print that while you're there. And by the way, they can spend $500 on Facebook and take that from you anyways. It's so easy. What you did is you limited the ability for the customer who is texting into the CRM but thinks they're texting a phone to have their questions and conversations answered. Not that you have to require your team to work offsite. We do ghost teams is what we teach. But if they can't access something that they have to be able to give the answer to, you're limiting their ability to respond quickly and efficiently in a scenario where that's the only way they get an actual conversation. And that happens before an appointment.
I don't understand that either, Bobbie. In my first internet department, we had, and this was back in the Stone Ages, right? We had one laptop for the department and everyone took turns taking it home, and we would answer the leads live around the clock. We sold every single one of the customers that we answered at 3:00 in the morning. Are you freaking kidding me? Limit their access overnight? What?
Yeah, take away their access from it. Or here's, this one's a fun one. I love stuff like this. So I'm talking to a dealership about the same thing. Like, they've got a BDC installed. They're, Bobbie, I don't understand why nothing's happening. I go, let me ask you a question. We're looking at their engagement. We're looking to see how many people they're engaging with, because you've got different buckets here. If I want to gauge how a BDC is doing or team is doing, it's not about car sales. It's how many opportunities were they given that were actual opportunities? Then where did they engage or they didn't? In the engagement, is it an appointment or not? After the appointment, did they show or not? Then did it sell or not? Each one of those brackets is a training opportunity that you can identify. So I don't like it when people lie to the CRM, because then you can't tell the truth. Mm-hmm. So this store says, I say, do they have direct dial lines? Yeah, they have direct lines coming in. What does it show up as when they dial out? Oh, I don't know. Let's check it. So, hey folks, it's a 2-step process with your direct dials, in and out. So their top BDC person wants to quit. I mean, she's killing it, wants to quit. Why? I make 100 calls a day. I get none of the calls back. They end up on the sales floor. Sales floor handles the phone calls. Phone calls come into the front desk. Page to the sales floor. Opportunity gone. How is a team going to work with that? These are little idiosyncrasies that happen regardless of who you're handling the stuff. These are simple fixes that keep your team motivated and with a strong desire to actually do a job that's full of rejection and repetition. It's not an easy job.
Yeah. I'm going to take back what I said in the opening. Don't start with your manager, start with your phone routing.
Anthony, tell me about your Off-Site BDC.
Well, my Off-Site BDC, we work with clients all over the country. I kind of give a la carte services, so every dealership's different. I have one dealership that I'm working. I take all their leads and all their phone ups get routed to my office. I have another dealership where we're just handling all their Carfax and Kelley Blue Book trade-ins. I have a couple of dealerships to where we're working long-term opportunities. Anything over 30 days, my team starts to pick up. So it really just depends on what the dealership's looking for. Like, the dealership I went and consulted yesterday, I'm bringing them on, but I had identified what they were doing, what their BDC was doing. And I identified that they had one manager who's not really trained up too well. They have 3 people that are brand new. They're getting 10,000 leads and they're maybe doing 50 activities a day. I mean, they're just pouring money out the door. And
sales people have other things to do.
They're busy.
Answer leads.
No.
Yeah. And speaking of leads, people, quality over quantity.
100%. And they listen. I even had the conversation. It's like, listen, I can save you a ton of money just by turning off that faucet. Let's slow that down. And their answer, honestly, was, until I'm able to get through to them, we're afraid to do that. We're afraid to stop throwing opportunities at the problem, right? So,
right.
Anthony,
but we're afraid to spend the money to fix the ways that you help those opportunities.
Anthony, what's your phone number?
What'd you say?
What's your phone number?
My phone number is 732. 456.
Slowly.
I'm sorry.
732.
456.
456.
0753.
Okay. I'm going to put that on the screen here for a second. In a second. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Do I need to sell to break even with the cost of the BDC? James Shorkey, you and I both know that number varies.
Right.
But he's not wrong in his point. To the fact of his point is, Can you run a sales team that handles internet opportunities and do it successfully? Absolutely.
Mhm.
If you're willing to put in the time, work, commitment, and most importantly, the accountability. I'm on site with a team right now that does it.
Mhm.
Not against any of these things. What I'm against is shortcutting what needs to be done and wasting money. 10,000 leads in a dealership is insane, but it's definitely insane for a dealership that only has 3 agents and 1 manager. What you're doing when you do that is you're setting yourself up for failure. There's no success, and they can't properly follow up. They can't properly engage. There's no way that proper training could be done, because when could you pull anybody? And spending more money on opportunities coming in isn't a problem, because those are leads, not opportunities. You'll never get a chance to turn them into real opportunities.
Absolutely.
It's just not possible.
Yeah. And we're not even talking about outbound. I know I've mentioned it a couple of times, but
We're just on inbound. This could be a series for months. It's so crazy to me.
it's insane. And I do have some spreadsheets and some formulas that to answer Jim Shorkey's question, depending upon your sales goals and the rate of growth that you're looking to achieve. But it is a combination of getting smarter with your advertising investments, working outbound opportunities in a regimented way, whether it's your sales team or in that, for instance, you definitely need to be supplementing with something, because I mean, we all say, you know, they're going to get their customers back in the life cycle, but honestly, that's not happening. And somebody had just popped up service as well. Gosh, the opportunity there is outrageous. And while everybody, just a rough number. So a rough number, I will tell you, to make it cost effective, Jim Shorkey, is the cost per unit that is directly attributed to the BDC needs to be less than $140.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because I know James Shorkey knows the answer to that question.
He does.
I've answered it for you before. I like that he's instigating along with Jim. But
we're going to have to get him on camera one of these days.
You need to join us on a
active
call, Jim, so you can tell people about it. But how to sell the break even with the cost of the BDC? Well, I don't know how many cars you have to sell to break even with the cost of a BDC, because it depends on what your cost is in your BDC. Depends on if you're attributing it to marketing or to sales. It depends on what your commission-based pay plan is for your sales team. Are you overpaying them, underpaying them? Are they working together? It's less important about thinking about breaking costs as it is thinking about, are you converting where you're supposed to and getting the return? And then if you're not, do you have a solid way, whether it's in your CRM or your KPI reporting, to identify where the break is, what the training needs to be, and to set up a performance-based process in order to create a high-performance culture? And those aren't just words. I'm throwing those words out so that you can Google them, look at them, or call me. I'll have the conversation with you.
Yes, I disagree. I do think it's about cost. You can't see a return or evaluate anything if you don't have a budget cost number in mind before you start. Well, no business works that way.
Sure, but I guess maybe I should rephrase that and say it's not just about cost. It's not just about cost. It's about net. It's not about gross. It's not about profit. It's about net. It's also about, what does that team do? Are they service-based? Are they sales-based? Are you increasing RO hours on a Saturday because you have an influx in parts inventory? Are you trying to move 4 aged units off the lot and used? Or are you just moving cars that are going to move themselves anyways? These are all factors. And I'll tell you, one of the things I think is the most important things that you can do in the top 10 in the beginning of a BDC is, I don't care if your title is salesperson, sales manager, or BDC agent. Mm-hmm. I don't care if you're allowed to work internet leads or phone calls or showrooms. I don't like the fair policy. Mm-hmm. I'm not about fair. If you do a good job with inbound phone calls, and that's where your skill set is, those are the opportunities you work on in my stores. Mm-hmm. If you work in a BDC and you work sales opportunities, but you're terrible at a KBB or a trade acquisition lead or a trade pending, and you just can't get past that, but you just kill it on engagement with a check availability or confirm e-price or whatever freaking button your marketing company talked you into using, that's actually the question, that's what you work. I'm so tired of hearing people say,
Jim Shorkey says you guys are full of it.
He does not. I'm tired of hearing people say these people work internet leads. Why? Because they have brown hair and a red car. That's stupid. Use your CRM, look at your KPIs, and actually evaluate the performance of your teams, and then adjust accordingly. Otherwise, you're wasting your time.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
Okay, well, Anthony, we talked about salespeople, BDC, service BDC. Are you doing any of that?
That's the one thing I will not do, Jim. I don't have any desire to do anything related to service, so I will always refer that out to my friends out there.
Okay, why is that?
I just don't want to deal with, is my car ready? Do I get a rental car? Can you drive me home? I like doing the whole sales BDC. That's me.
That means
So
their phone system's not set up the right way.
You're very
You're not
specialized
getting
in
those
sales.
calls.
Now,
What'd you say?
Bobbie, what are you doing with Service BDC? Anything?
Yeah, build, train, set up, recruit, hire, teach, love, hold accountable, normal Tuesday.
Outbound or inbound?
But here's the thing. I agree with you.
Outbound or inbound?
Both outbound and inbound. Here's one of the variables that I really like to focus on with it, though, is because that is frustrating, is plus business. Declined ROs set up correctly in the CRM, so they're flagged and they're prompted. Tasks set up. What are you actually trying to fill on a Saturday? Do you got 2 diesel techs that you need this for? Are you missing a diesel tech? We need to fill time. That's a different beast. It's not run anywhere near the same way as the sales BDC, unless you're just, I'm setting appointments when they call in, or I'm calling to say that cars are done. And that's not a BDC. That's a receptionist.
Don't combine the two,
Not the same.
regardless. Do not combine the two
Mm-mm.
at all. And if you're not running a vehicle acquisition center from your service lane with a service BDC,
No crap.
you are missing out on a lot of money.
100%. It's easy money right there.
I love about, I hate it when we call it BDC and we call people leads, because that's just what we know in our industry as the right
Business
word to apply.
Development Center. What else would it be called?
I mean, you call it whatever you want. I call it a
Customer care center is what I call
I
it.
teach every training team customer care center. It's funny to me because people go, well, they're sales professionals. That's their title. Hey, you know what? You're the reason the person spent 18 hours on average offline and up to 180 days looking for a vehicle when they could have just called you to answer questions because they didn't want to talk to a sales professional. You're not doing yourself a favor. But if my job is to take care of the customer and actually help them and be educated, and I'm not afraid of doing that, you actually have the ability to reduce your turnover in the store and increase your customer retention. Why wouldn't we have people calling for a service BDC, a sales BDC, whatever you want to call it, on actual customers that we really do want to retain, and just saying thank you for your business? You remember those days when we used to just make hello calls, when we would call in to say, hey, how's the search going for a vehicle? Or hey, how's the weather? How's Molly's soccer? Because I put those notes in the CRM when you told me that Molly plays soccer and it matters to me. Those are relationship-based selling. It's why there's so many of us that can teach this and do this, and everybody else is just as capable, but it's not in their interest or their path. It drives me absolutely nuts when I hear people say, well, just call them and get the appointment. If you want to teach your people how to treat people like leads, that's what you're doing.
Yep.
Stop it. Knock it off.
100%.
Okay. Jennifer, what subject have we not talked about? BDC, no BDC. Now, I'm a favor in BDC. I'm a BDC advocate. I don't think salespeople should be anywhere near an incoming lead.
I don't agree. I think I'm in favor of management teams working the process, regardless of the structure. And we haven't talked about inspection points.
Yep.
And I think that is key to, regardless whether you have a BDC or you have salespeople, you have to constantly be inspecting it. And for anybody who wants a copy, I have a scorecard that I use and customize with all my stores. It's in Excel, so it's super easy for you to modify and change. I am happy to share it. I post everybody knows I'm a spreadsheet junkie. I share them all day, every day. So I think that is the primary thing that we're missing, not just on the show, but across the country in our stores for the.
That's your phone number on screen, right? They can text you.
Yeah, text me your email address. I'll send it over to you. And it's all good, because I would rather share this. And like I said, I put it in Excel, so it makes it easy to modify to your process.
Plus, you can't use AI with old school sales managers. She's using an Excel because that's easier to show you guys how to work it.
Well, no, it is easier to modify and to use it to fill in calculate scores. You can't calculate a score without, a hand calculator if you don't use Excel and a formula.
Yeah.
So I am happy to share it, and you should change it up and modify it to the process you expect your team to use, whether it is a salesperson, an appointment setter, or a third-party vendor assisting you. You should be inspecting that. And I always invite every manager in, and we'll do this at least once a week. Everyone will grab a lead evaluate it after a 2-week process, right? Let's see how the team is doing. But you'd be surprised to see the perspective differences between the members of your management team, because you all know we've run into, oh, this is my favorite, I'm going to protect them, I'm going to give them whatever. And that's some BS. You have to be very objective, and you have to be regimented in how you're inspecting it, because the kids are going to get away with whatever you let them get away with. But if they know that every single member of the management team is keeping an eye on it objectively for their benefit, for the benefit of their commission, for the benefit of their family, it changes the perspective on this scorecard.
Right. And maybe people, they have to have product knowledge. This is the one team in one direction method. Why are you having sales meetings every Friday morning and your BDC isn't in them?
Yeah.
That's weird. Aren't you one team? Why are you training on things and not doing it? And for Jamie, who said, do you train your sales BDC to use X time? Absolutely. The biggest problem with X time in most stores is it's not set up correctly. So the first thing you do is set it up correctly with the sales manager. Make sure it's inbound to the CRM or not inbound the correct way. And absolutely, they should be using it. One team, they go together. It's a whole situation. But I want to piggyback real quick off of something Jennifer said, because I think this is funny. We have a lot of BDC directors watching this right now and sales managers. I can see the audience. So I throw it in here because it'll be fun. I love it when somebody in a store says, I don't let her pick, like, top BDC person or him. I don't let them pick the salesperson they're giving to because they give them to the same person every time. And that's not fair. I don't care if it's fair, but I'll tell you what, if your BDC pay plan is set up right, they're not giving John Mills the opportunity if he isn't closing it and updating the notes and making their job easier. And if Mark over in the corner doesn't want to, or Robin's not participating, they shouldn't be working those opportunities. I don't know why we would think that should be different.
100%.
Somebody answer that lengthy comment that just came in.
Let's say.
So
they're talking about a service BDC.
I work at a BDC service center. We handle 26 stores with more coming on board. We cover stores from Southeast, Midwest, and out to Arizona. A busy day can have over 1,600 calls. The number one problem is service advisors not communicating with customers. On a busy day, I'll handle 100 calls myself. Communication is key. Without the BDC, the calls aren't answered. Shielding the service lane from easy calls, but reaching out to advisor needs a response.
1,600 leads.
Amen. That person is exactly right. First of all, the BDC person is not the best qualified or empowered to answer a question that somebody would ask their service advisor, because it's going to be a service question. But if you have a problem in a store like that, it doesn't sound to me like you have the ability to be empowered to solve it. But if you want to reach out to me, I'll give you half an hour of my time and give you some ideas on this. I will tell you that this is a service advisor, service manager process issue.
Yeah.
Might need to include some AI.
And maybe your IT department, so your phone routing is the right way.
Yeah.
Calling for a new appointment versus question on your vehicle that's already in service.
Your BDC is not a BDC if their job is to be the assistant to your sales team and your service team and do the stuff that they don't want to do. That's not a BDC.
Your phone routing is the right. Oh, I'm repeating back.
Tom,
that might be your experience, but I know that's not true as a fact across the country.
And if you've experienced that, you're experiencing a wrong setup, a wrong pay plan, a wrong hire, a wrong training. BDCs definitely don't lose more sales than they make, but if the incentive is low, that's a pay plan issue. As far as giving out too much information goes, I'd have to look at particular leads examples with you to tell you if somebody did, but it's a training opportunity. If a customer asks a question, answer the question. There's 500 around a question, but answer the question. What are people so afraid of? Like, oh, they gave out too much information. They gave a price. Price is on your website. Oh, they gave a trade. Trade's on your website. Oh, they did this. Somebody else will do it. And so will your salespeople at the same time. This is not a competition between who is better, sales or BDC. This is a qualification of who is better trained and suited to handle particular situations. And it can be both. It can be both.
Absolutely.
The second half of that statement, I've seen so many salespeople and sales managers do the same thing. Too much information and not even going for an appointment set while they're out.
I'll tell you when I think it's too much information, because this is something I talk about with sales managers all the time. Here's where people mistake too much information for too much conversation. Customer won't engage with somebody who's trying to get a hold of them. They finally get a hold of them by text. They don't ask or give a reason to get them on the phone to actually handle it. They continue with the text and they say things like, well, they want a text. You don't even know that. That's just how he answered you. You haven't given them a reason to. So now you have a back and forth conversation happening with no temperament, no tone. and no visual engagement. And so what's happening is you're seeing direct questions with direct answers so somebody doesn't get ghosted.
Mhm.
That team needs training on how to turn an opportunity that is nonverbal into a verbal one. That's not a skill set you're grabbing with most people who are coming in and training your team. I can assure you of that.
And that's true regardless of if it's BDC or sales. Again, I believe that structure and support is important for a management team to put in place regardless of who's handling the opportunities, because you're going to fail either way if you're missing that component.
Absolutely. Can I tell you something I learned from my offsite? Probably one of the biggest things I learned.
Okay, jump in there. Do it.
One of the biggest things I learned, and I've trained a lot of dealerships on site. When I first opened up my offsite BDC, I kept traveling a lot, and I kept going on site and consulting. And when I would leave, the results at my offsite wouldn't be the same. And one of my closest clients called me up and said, "Anthony, I love you. You're the best. But when you leave and you go on site to other dealerships, we don't get the same results." And that hit me hard. And that day I took myself off the road for the rest of the year. And I said, I have a reputation that took a long time to build up. I'm not going to ruin it just because I want to go out and train dealerships still. And what I really learned is that a BDC director, they have to be the best BDC agent first, right?
Mhm.
And if you want them training your team, the best way for them to train your team is to lead by example. And what I've learned is that I have multiple accounts, and I have people working in the other room right now, setting appointments. But I promise you, if I took you to the leaderboard, my name is at the top of every account or right below the top, because I'm setting appointments every single day. I'm training them by letting them listen to me. For example, one of the things that's hot right now is negative equity. How do we deal with negative equity? People are $6,000 flipped upside down.
Wonder how we got there.
Right? Exactly. Yeah, we did it to ourselves, right? But they're not even training people how to have the right conversations. Maybe you train your people to say something like, "Hey, Jim, I understand that you're $6,000 upside down. We have some programs that can help you, but coming from personal experience, I just went through a credit challenge myself. You're not looking for your next favorite car, Jim. You should be looking for your next favorite car payment for about 16 to 20 months, because we need you to step down into something that you might not love, but you'll love the car payment and make it timely. This way we can get your credit climb back up, and we're going to buy that back from you in about 20 months, and your equity position will be cleared by then." Right? But no one trains people to have those conversations and to give people a different paradigm.
It's a very complex word track.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it takes practice. It takes practice.
And that's a combo of bad credit and equity, because there are lots of people right now, because of the market conditions over the last 2-3 years, that have good credit but are in a crappy equity position.
And the banks aren't buying like they once did.
No.
The banks are withdrawing from the market right now.
But people
So
think they
one
can
of
get
the
out of
things
their
we need
cars.
to deal with.
They think they can get out of their cars and get into something that they love still. They don't want to go underneath the 2020, and they don't want a $600 car payment. And they're, if they can't get that, they're just running away without
But
any.
one of the problems you had, Anthony, I was on the road for 30 years. I consulted literally thousands of dealerships on site. I mean, I probably more than anybody on this screen combined.
Without question.
I mean, you haven't, none of you caught up with me.
Not at all.
I'll tell you that right now. But the thing I went in with was I always had my power directly from the dealer. I could make changes. I could legislate changes. I could overrule the general manager as a consultant, because I went in with the highest power structure to make the changes I came to make. It was in my contract. The dealer agreed with it. I've had managers come up to me and say, "Mr. Ziegler, let me tell you the way we like to do it." And I'll look them right in the eye and say, "You don't think your dealer hired me because you're doing a good job, do you?" And, I've said that many times. Excuse me, I'm in charge here. Unless you as a consultant go in with some level of authority, you can't make changes last.
True story. And listen, I tell dealers, I say, listen, the minute I walk out that door, you're going to judge me, right? You're paying me, so the microscope gets really fine, especially in the BDC department. That's where the microscope goes at the end of every month. Whether the numbers are good or bad, it goes on to the BDC. It never goes on to the sales team and says, "Why don't you, log all your log ups?" It's usually the BDC and what we didn't do. So having everybody on the same page, running in the same direction. And like the girl said, it's all about training. But I believe that the BDC director should be the one training and leading by example and leading the board. Or at least
doing it alongside them. Do it alongside them. I want to throw out something real quick.
You could swap that same for sales manager real quick, though, because you can't tell your sales team to make phone calls if you're not willing to get up from behind the desk and go sit down with them and do it. It is the same, regardless.
I'm going to throw out this challenge. I must be feeling very feisty today, which I am because I'm on site. Tom McGovern. We have 3 mutual friends.
Because you're on site right now. You're in a dealership right now, Bobbie.
I'm in a dealership right now for the 12th day on site. Yeah. Training the sales team, the BDC.
You're on a dealership 12th day on site.
Yeah.
I mean, not
Tom,
2 days.
Tom, you're in Illinois. I don't give away my clients, but I'm in Illinois right now. And our 3 mutual friends would indicate that either you work for Garber Automotive or that you're associated with them. So you can say old school talk price and you'll never see the sale. They talk price and you get the response. Here's where people go wrong. And here's why I'm going to say I can see where you're at. You're not supposed to be selling a car over the phone. You're supposed to be building a relationship and setting an appointment. But guess what? If you don't answer questions, you don't get the opportunity for an appointment. And what do you mean don't talk price? It's listed on your effing website. And if it's not, you're about to be in real big trouble with the new regulations that go into effect in July for advertising. Like, might want to check the Federal Trade Commission. But I'm thinking you work for my old group or you're friends with them. So I'd spend some time with you. I'd do a challenge with you on the sales floor right now. I'll come to your store or you can come to mine. But you might want to check with Mr. Kurtz first, since he's our mutual contact, and ask him if I know what I'm talking about. Because I didn't sit in some cubicle somewhere as a BDC agent who just is real extroverted and got hired by 70 dealerships through the country on month 1 that I went live. I'm on the floor with these people. I'm in the BDC with these people, and I do it every single day. So if you want to contest something that simple, and then I'm coming hard after you because I don't even know your job title. I didn't even go to LinkedIn and look it up. But this is why people in BDCs and in sales floors fail, because managers say dumb shit. Sorry, I swear I'm not supposed to swear on the show. Like,
we don't say shit here. No. Shit.
Price. If you talk price, you won't get the sale. Why don't you go pack your ass into the BDC in the back and make 125 calls a day for the next 2 weeks and see if you can get past not answering a question, because being obnoxious to customers will not get you anywhere. Your competitor down the street won't. It's a good thing that store isn't listed, because I would geo it right now and teach my team how to work a geo of leads, since I know what you don't want your team to do.
So I want to jump on the don't talk price, because most customers aren't paying cash anyways. Regardless, again, I don't care if it is a salesperson or a BD agent. The principles of how we work with our customers are exactly the same. Just one can handle a higher volume and the other cannot. But you've got to, if you want to talk old school, let's talk old school. AIM. Acknowledge, ignore, and move on. If they ask for the price, give them the price that's listed on the website. Then follow up the question and say, are you planning to pay cash, or would you like to come in and sit down with one of our sales and leasing specialists to find the best payment for your household or you or whatever it is? But you have to acknowledge the question, ignore that it's an issue, and move on to the conversion points of that conversation. I hate phone scripts. I hate word tracks other than psychological word plays. I think we have to train our teams, again, sales, BDC, I don't care. We have to train them how to control a conversation, collect information, and convert to showroom visits. That's what we have to train these departments to do.
These are the same stores, the same people that train teams to say things like, don't give away pricing. I bet if I went on your website right now, you let the marketing company talk you into a confirm availability or a check e-price button, which, by the way, check e-price converts people to assuming there's going to be a lower price and starts the conversation. So if we want to go old school, let's remember what it was to slide the paper across the table in the close and shut your mouth. This is the same thing we do now. The psychology is still there. It just looks different.
Amen.
Would you come to the door in the front of the showroom? Somebody goes up and they go, I like that car. I like that Beetle out on the lot. How much is that? I'm sorry, we don't do that. No.
You worked up today. I love it.
I do. And you know what? That Tom guy's going to think I'm a complete jerk, and that's okay. But you know what? I would give you a day of training for free just so that your team would be stronger. And I am not always right. People think I think I'm always right. I don't.
No.
You'll prove me wrong, or I'll prove you wrong. And at the end of the day, one of us will be better because of it. So if you accept the challenge on that, I'm happy to help you. And
You'll
if you
give anybody a free
I'll
what?
thank you
A free
publicly.
what? Bobby.
I'll give you a free day of training for that management team.
You'll give anybody a free day of training.
I'll give anybody who is willing to step up and say they would do the right thing a free day of training. I absolutely will. I absolutely will. Because when you show up later, one of my stores is going to try to hire your people and they're going to be trained right.
Anthony gave away a free consultancy once at the Battle Plan.
Paul Clark Ford. I'll never forget it. My boy
Yeah.
Kyle Sterling. Yeah. I still keep in touch with them down there.
Me, Jim Shorkey is asking the question.
I don't know
Who
what's
has
funny about that. Jim,
cars
I
and
love you,
professions?
Jim. I love Jim Shorkey to pieces. Do you remember
Not
Jim
me.
Shorkey, that Jennifer and I helped train your team and taught you some of those things?
Ashley worked with them. I didn't work with their
I
group.
set records, Jim.
But I've sold cars for years. I'm 22 years in the business. You're not talking to somebody who sat in a background somewhere and like got handed some kind of nonsense. I come in and I don't just train BDC. I come in and I teach operations, leaderships, buy sells.
Anybody can sell a car.
When you're out of the store, I'll go sell cars on the floor right now. I did it yesterday.
Anybody can sell
I
a
only
car.
train managers. Your manager should be training your team.
I love training teams. And I think Jim Shorkey's store runs awesome. I like him a lot as a person.
The problem is most operators are not like
I'll accept your apology that you don't remember that. You should ask your team. Some of your processes, I'm the one that put into place.
Oh, Joe, look at this. Shorkey's claiming the old card.
I know.
I love old card.
Yeah.
Shorkey's claiming the old card. He played the old card.
That's why he can't remember.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Is your memory getting short there, Jim? What's going on?
But the thing is, and I've loved all the engagement that Jim has been giving us this last couple of weeks. But most dealers are not as involved and they're not putting the structures and processes in place to support their team. So I love it. And I love that he's getting feisty and getting challenging questions, because every other operator that watches this, or general manager or manager, they need to pay attention to what he's doing. He is doing it the right way and supporting his team. And earlier, Jim, I want to clarify, I didn't mean that you should treat your salespeople as kids. I was using it as an analogy that they'll get away with what we let them. So our job as managers is to set them up and support them, but also make sure to hold them accountable for what we expect of them. But like I'm saying, guys, it's a lot of back and forth banter. But if you want to see an operator doing it right without a BDC, because he's cradle to grave.
And if you need an outsourced BDC, call Matt Raymond, call Bowtie. They were just on with us last week. I mean, these are, look,
service only for Bowtie.
Yeah, for the service stuff, we get feisty, but we get feisty because of these things. I love that you guys are engaging. Challenge us. We'll challenge you.
I did answer the accounting question. Side note, I gave a cost per. Yeah. And then,
I think it just came back up on the.
I mean, we can go all the way down to like how I would set up each car to have that cost and charge to marketing if we want to do that. But that would be pretty more
I'm going to leave you guys with two things too, since we're getting to the end. But look, I hope that nobody ever watches us when we're doing this stuff and is like, oh man, they're so judgmental. They know everything. That's the farthest from the truth you could even imagine. I'm out here trying to teach teams how to do things, but I'm out here fighting to make sure that the people who sit on those teams can buy groceries and pay their electric bill. And I don't expect for you to know all the things that I specialize in, just like you know a lot of things that I don't specialize in. I'll never judge you for asking for help and raising your hand. I'll judge you when you don't. So if you're watching and you're like, well, how would we even know that? When I say most managers don't know this stuff, I don't expect you to know it. I expect you to try to educate yourself. If you don't have a training budget and you can't hire somebody, pick up the phone and make a phone call to one of us. Or everyone on here, and most of the consultants I know have done tons of free webinars. They're free, they're online, they're at conferences. You don't have to have money to do it. You have to have desire.
Answer that one on the screen, Bobbie.
Exactly right. This is why we call, text, email, even though everybody's like, why do we have to do all of them? Right message, right time, and the right place. Have a direct dial line that comes to you. Nothing more frustrating than 100 attempts to somebody to get back one call and have it not come through. You have to be available when people want to talk. And if you're texting through your CRM, which you should be, not your cell phone, there's a law about that. But if you're doing it, the customer doesn't know that's how it's going. They expect a text experience. You can't get up and not text them back for 2 hours. It doesn't work like that, especially if you're talking to a woman by text. I'm not trying to be sexist, but culturally we can be very different. You want to be a sales guy or a BDC guy and be texting back and forth with a girl and you go dark for 3 hours? We just consulted the board of directors and they picked a different dealership for us. So come on. We don't agree with that.
Oh, Charity, we love you, but I feel like that means you just called us old.
I mean, I have a grandchild. I think I've gotten sexier as I got older and smarter, so I'm working with
50
it.
this July. How you doing?
Right. Yeah.
Oh, golly.
This is a great topic, and it
I live 20 minutes from the Shorkey stores. I don't know what he's doing, but I know we're killing it in the country store. BDC is important. It must be managed. I guess they're crushing the Shorkey store. I don't know.
I would think things they're
We
working
can't see who it is, so
Yeah, I can't. It doesn't tell us who it is. People. There's so many steps in being successful. This is why I don't like to attribute cost the same way with BDC, like a per car, because there are so many steps that go into it. I like to look at each bracket to see where there's an improvement and work from there. When she texts back, she says, "I'm fine." She's not fine.
she's not. You say, "Would you like tacos or chocolate?"
Well, I'm already tone with that. It's funny though, like we joke about this, but like let me tell you guys this. I am we're not going to go political, but Jim likes to do this, so we're not going to do it. I'm a very progressive individual. That means that I respect your religion, your rights, your culture, your sex, your chosen sex. If you want to be a rainbow, I will get you a prism. Okay? That's where we live. But I will tell you this, culturally, by diversity, by gender, by age group, we're different in the way that we communicate and how we accept things that come to us and how we give back. What you say by text or by email is not how it's interpreted by the person who's reading it. What's in your voice is always not the same either. But universally, I'm fine means I am definitely not fine. So,
okay, Anthony, what do you think? We got a couple minutes left in the show. What have we not covered?
No, I think we covered a lot today, and it was a great conversation. I think we hit a lot of topics that a lot of people have a lot of passion about. There's more than one paradigm to get there. There's more than one solution, and I think that if people surround themselves with people on this panel, that they're going to get all the right answers, and they're going to get the answer that makes the most sense for them. I think we've covered a lot today, though, and I appreciate everybody's time today.
Same.
Bobbie, what have we not covered?
Oh my God, about 185,000 things, but we talked about enough to get everybody started.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, we had a little audience today. We had a lot of people share. Please share this broadcast. If you're listening right now, hit the share button right now while you're thinking about it. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe, please. And, I think we've proved that Jim Shorkey is wrong.
We've proven a lot, and Anthony, please make sure you give out in the comment section for each of the posts. Please make sure you give out your number and website, how people can reach you. We really appreciate you coming on. Appreciate you guys coming on.
The one thing we didn't talk about, you guys, that you should definitely, maybe we'll have to follow up is because text and email is so difficult to convey tone, is video, both live and recorded.
Yeah, we need to talk about that in another broadcast, don't we?
I know, because we're out of time. So, but you asked what we didn't talk about.
Text and video and what else?
Oh, I was saying video, whether it's like live, like the Zoom, or recorded and sent via text or email or however it goes. But video is a huge component, right? That's how we get face to face with these prospects.
Yeah, I taught the entire team yesterday how to use ChatGPT to create new imagery to send with their texts, how to customize their conversations and replies. And then we went into HeyGen and made avatars for everybody.
That's awesome.
To create videos for customers in less than 5 minutes.
You taught your cradle to grave sales.
I did. I taught my cradle. I'm cradle to grave this week. Yeah. Cradle to grave this week. That's right. I did. And the managers.
No. Oh,
guys, I got to go pick up my daughter. I have to pick my daughter from school and bring her back to her grandma right now. So I have to jump off.
Okay. Take care, big guy. We're signing off here in a second.
Thank you for having me. I love you guys. And we'll all
love you guys. See you later.
Bobbie, is there anything we haven't talked about?
I mean, there's just so much. I could literally if I had the consistency to do, I could literally have this topic daily, because everything that we're talking about is a broad overview. I can't talk today. I'm so tired. But mostly what we're focused on right now is the negative items that need to be fixed, because we don't have 50 hours to talk about the positive things that are done right. Right now we're focused on those. And within each of those brackets is a million small things that will deter you or your team from having it work. I mean, it's essential. If you're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on marketing, why wouldn't you be training or properly processing the team that is handling all that? Otherwise, you're just in the good luck game. And I don't like to make goals based on hope and prayer.
Well, and I have said this before. I think that the reason we see that is because the OEMs are co-oping the ad dollars. And after the last recession, they stopped with their co-op programs for training. When the OEM was subsidizing this kind of training, more dealers were doing it. Now that they have to carry the bill, it's fallen to the wayside. And you can see that in their numbers.
I just got a text from somebody real quick that says, do you even have the background? I'm not a sassy person when it comes to my background. I'm confident, not cocky, but you can look at my LinkedIn and ask questions if you want. I've held every position available in a dealership, and that includes in service, and I've done it successfully, and I've done it as a leader. As a matter of fact, I've been a GM. I've been a director of operations for 2 major scale groups across the country, leading ones in the country, for over 8 years. The reason that you don't know all the things that I know how to do is because I am not cocky, as your text would indicate.
Do you even know? Well, at least they read the phone number. And, here's the thing, though. I think that there are a lot of BDC or there are a lot of consultants out there that haven't walked the walk. The difference for those of us that are sitting here right now is we've grown up. Right. We've done it. Jim has sold cars. He grew up from the floor. We've all grown up through the dealership.
I close car deals while I'm on the floor this week. Like, come on. This is not confident. This is not cocky. It's confident, but mostly it's that I'm so sick and tired of people who actually don't know what they're talking about coming back with such certainty that they do when you're wrong.
Well, guys, we have burned an hour. Wave goodbye to the audience.